Hey everyone, thanks for tuning back into mattsteinway.com. Here I am with Zali Booker. How you going?
I'm good, thanks, Matt.
Excellent. I can see her and everyone else watching the video can see you, but you can't see me, can you?
I can't. It's a bit of an odd sensation.
Let's get straight into it. So, you're an auctioneer.
I am an auctioneer, yes. I have auctioned quite a few properties and love doing it, although I'm not as loud as some of my male counterparts.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy doing it.
Okay, I didn't know that, you know.
Well, I have to say I haven't auctioned as many properties as some other people in our company or in the area.
Yeah.
But I've been auctioning for about 5 years now, 4 or 5 years.
Okay, and was it nerve-wracking starting?
Oh, it's still nerve-wracking now. I still get nervous every time I do it. So, yeah, it's very nerve-wracking.
Yeah, well, go the girls. Are there many female auctioneers?
There's a few female auctioneers. There's a girl who works for an opposition company in Ivanhoe, and there's another one that works in Doncaster, but to my knowledge there's only about 3 or 4 in Victoria.
Do you think that's an advantage when you do auction them? Like, do you think the crowd and people
I think that people automatically, I guess, have more trust. This might sound a bit sexist, but they automatically have more trust with a female.
Yeah.
And so I think that is definitely an advantage.
Yeah, I would think it would be. Yeah, that's unreal. Okay, how old when you started? How old are you now? 17 or something?
17. I'm 27 now. I started in real estate when I was 17.
Yeah.
Before I was legally allowed to sell houses, I was still helping out at opens and auctions and things like that.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it for about 10 years.
Wow. And was it hard to get into, like I hear, well, actually, lots of agents contact me and say, oh, I'm young and it's hard because I'm young. Tell me what you think.
I think that I don't think it's hard to get into. I think that you definitely have a disadvantage being young in certain areas, and particularly in the area that I work in Boroondara, which is a very competitive market. It is a disadvantage. Yeah. But I think if you can prove to a vendor that you've got better product knowledge, you've got more enthusiasm, and you just want the business more, then you've got a very good shot at getting it.
So how did you, when you got started and you were young, when did you get into sales?
I got into sales when I moved to Victoria. I actually started real estate in Perth.
Yeah.
I moved to Victoria in 2004 and I got into sales in a PA type role, and was in that role for a few years before I went out on my own as a sales agent in 2006.
Okay. So, I know you said enthusiasm and whatnot, but talk about mindset. Did you see yourself as a young agent and it's like shivers? Are they going to think I'm too young? Not
really. I probably I'm quite a confident person, which is definitely a positive thing most of the time. Sometimes it's not. But I always just went in with the mindset that, why wouldn't they sell with me? I knew that I was going to do a better job than the other guys who'd been in the industry for a lot longer, because they weren't going to be calling back all of the buyers. They weren't going to be putting in that kind of hours that I was putting in. So I just went in there with the mindset that I knew that I could do a better job. And, hopefully that came across, that, I was confident and that I was enthusiastic, as you said. And, some of the times it got me the business, some of the times it didn't. There's always people that are going to think you're too young, and you can't change their mind. But I always gave it a red hot crack.
Yeah. How long did it take you to get sort of rolling, you think? Because look, the reason I ask, there's some agents that will be watching this going, they've been in it a year and they're going, oh, it's not working, I haven't got listings, or they're finding it difficult. How long did it take for you to get rolling?
Oh, at least a few years. I think I probably got going really well in 2009.
Yeah.
When the market kind of crashed for the GFC, I just, that was a huge advantage for me, because I had done the hard yards, I'd made the phone calls, I'd put in a lot of effort. When the market got tougher, it seemed that my tactics worked better than other people.
Yeah.
And I guess it was that timing as well, that I'd been doing it for about 3 years, so things had really started to come into, people that I'd appraised had decided to sell and things like that. So it definitely didn't happen within, 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
It really didn't start to happen for at least kind of 3 years.
Awesome. Do you work at Patch, Zali?
I have worked a patch. I worked Glen Iris and then Ashburton for quite a long time, and was very, very diligent on working that.
Yeah.
As you probably know, I've just joined Marshall White this year, and have probably changed my focus a little bit in terms of not just working one core area, but working the whole municipality.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on whether what one's better yet, because I loved working a patch. I just found that I knew more about that area than anyone else, and it worked for me. So I would say that if people are starting out in the industry, working a patch is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, like I know James reasonably well, and he works a database, so there's a bit of a database focus there rather than a patch focus. Is that right?
That's right, yeah, and that's what he's trying to get me to focus on more in order to expand my business.
Yeah.
But I think if you're starting out in real estate, the only way to build your database is to work a patch.
Yeah.
And once you've got that database going, then at least you've got the luxury of that decision. But working a patch in my early years definitely helped me to, build that database.
So you changed companies, and was that a hard decision to do?
It was so hard.
Yeah.
I previously worked for Jealous Craig. I hope that's okay if I say that.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoyed working there, and I was there for 6 years.
Yeah.
And it was a huge decision for me to move. It wasn't an easy decision at all, but I'm really glad that I've done it, and I'm really, really enjoying Marshall White.
Unreal. I know you'll do well wherever you are. Hey,
fingers crossed.
How do you run your day?
How do I run my day? Well, every day is different, and this is something that is evolving as well. I think, I'm always trying to evolve my business so that it works better. Since I've joined Marshall White, I've kind of moved my day a lot more how James runs his day and some of the other guys here. So it's more what we do on different days in the week.
Yeah.
So Monday is callback day. So I try not to make many appointments on a Monday, and if I do, they're later on in the evening. So we try and get all of the open for inspection callbacks out of the way.
Yeah.
Tuesday's appraisals, so try and get all of my appraisals out of the way on a Tuesday, potentially on a Wednesday as well if there's any spillover.
Yeah.
And Tuesday nights are also good for any vendor meetings or auction meetings or things like that. Wednesday, try and get at least half of the day for prospecting, so database or old open for inspection lists, old auction lists, things like that. Thursday's obviously open day, so we spend most of the day on Thursdays at opens. It's pretty much, by the time you get all the little bits and pieces out of the way, the day's almost gone once you've done your opens.
Yeah.
And then Friday, as you know, is prospecting day, so that's our day that we do most of our database calls.
Awesome. Do you have a PA?
I don't have a PA at the moment. I have worked with PAs when I was at Jealous Craig. I'm not sure if I'm going to get one at the moment, because Marshall White have very, very good support systems,
Yep.
which was different to Jealous Craig. At one stage I had 2 PAs at Jealous Craig. I think that once I get settled in here, I probably will get a PA, but at the moment they're providing enough support for me that I'm quite happy just going the way I am.
Fantastic. So is there anything you do special to win the business?
Anything that I do special?
Apart from
I think the
being you.
biggest advantage... Sorry?
Apart from being you.
I think that, apart from being me, that's a hard question, because I think one of the biggest advantages that I've got is actually being female, which
Yeah.
is not something that you can do or not do. But I sell that really well to vendors. Most people who buy houses the woman has a large decision in that process, and so I sell the fact that, you know, I'm going to appeal to those buyers better. And I think that, you know, for any women out there, it's just a huge advantage because, especially in Victoria, there's very few female agents, and so that definitely works for me. Although it's not something you can change.
No. I was just thinking that. I can't use that one, Zali. I was going to steal what you used, but I can't use it. So.
No, sorry.
So you just a couple more questions. You explained your prospecting. So on a Friday, how many calls would you make?
Okay,
go. So how many calls would you make on a Friday, for instance?
On a Good Friday, I try to make kind of 60 or 70 prospecting calls.
Yeah.
It just depends on what's happening for the weekend as well. Like this weekend, I've got 6 properties up for auction.
Wow.
So I haven't got to my 60 or anywhere near it today because we've been chasing up, you know, deposits and trying to get all of our buyers in line for tomorrow.
Yeah.
But, you know, on a Friday, I try to make about 60 or 70.
So if you've got 6 properties up for auction on a Saturday, like I spent 4 hours negotiating one Saturday a week ago at the property. What happens if you're running late?
Oh, well, we'll try not to run late. I guess I'm used to working with, you know, an hour between auctions, sometimes an hour and a half, depending on what you've negotiated when you list the property and, you know, the vendor's needs and also the property.
Yeah.
The longest negotiation I've ever had is an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But we've got plenty of people that can cover us if need be to cover opens before the auctions and things like that. And obviously, if the negotiation's not going the way you want it, you can always come back to it later in the day.
Fantastic. Good advice. Last question. Have you got any advice different than what you've said for, well, not just young female agents, but young agents in general? Is there anything that you can share with them that might give them a bit of a, wow, Zali did it?
I think that I meet a lot of young agents in this area, and I think the one piece of advice that I would give is just stick with it. I think a lot of people become disheartened after, you know, 12 months or 6 months or even 18 months thinking that they're not getting anywhere, and you will get somewhere. It just takes time. You've got to make sure that you're putting in the hard yards though, because if you're not doing the hours and you're not doing the calls, then you're not going to get anywhere. But if you are putting in the hours and you are putting in the calls, then you will get somewhere. It's just a matter of time and a matter of those people who you meet today selling in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. And there'll be a day, I remember it so clearly. There was a day in my career where the switch just seemed to flick, and I had, you know, somebody that I'd sold for call me and say they were selling, and someone I'd been chasing for 4 years call me and say they were selling, and someone else call me that had been referred to me, and I just thought, now's the time it's going to happen. And that probably, like I said before, wasn't until 3 years in. So the best advice I could give, even though it probably seems simple, is just work hard and stick at it.
Great advice, spoken by a champion. Thanks, Zali.
No problems, Matt.
Girl going somewhere. I'm sure there's lots of people that want to ask you questions. Check the video will be up on Monday. So
fantastic.
Check it out, Zali, if you can, and ask Zali all the questions you want. And if she's got time between her prospecting and running her 6 auctions on Saturday and blah, 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 she'll get back to you. Thanks, Zali.
I will. Thanks, Matt. Have a great weekend, guys.
You too. All the best for your auctions.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.